Welcome, Deep Diver. Today, we're really diving into something you've asked about a lot. Portuguese language certifications.
That's right. We're tackling your questions using the research you sent over.
Exactly. How can mastering Portuguese, it's spoken by over 260 million people, sixth most spoken globally.
Yeah.
How can getting certified actually open doors for you?
Yeah, we looked through the sources you shared and distilled the key takeaways.
It's a really interesting topic, I think, because it's not just about, learning grammar rules or vocab lists.
No, it's about translating those skills, all that hard work, into something. Well, something universally understood, like a currency.
A currency, I like that. Like a global language credit score.
Exactly. It tells people, employers, universities, whoever, what you can actually do with the language.
Right.
Instantly.
That validation bit is so important, isn't it?
Yeah.
So our mission today really is to guide you through these certification levels.
We'll unpack the requirements, look at the benefits, personal, professional, and share some smart ways to, prepare effectively.
Whether you're dreaming of studying in Lisbon, maybe finding a job in São Paulo, or you just have a passion for this amazing language, a recognized certificate can seriously boost your chances, make you stand out.
Definitely. It sets a clear benchmark.
Yeah.
Makes your skills recognizable, respected. Universities, employers, even immigration folks, they know what it means.
Okay, so you're ready to prove you know Portuguese, but how do these different tests stack up? Is there like a common yardstick?
There is, actually. It's the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, the CEFR.
The CEFR.
Yeah, that's kind of the universal map for language skills used across Europe and really increasingly worldwide. Most Portuguese certifications use it as their base.
And it has those levels, right? A1, A2, B1.
Exactly. 6 levels in total. Starts with the basic user.
Okay, let's break those down. A1, what's that look like?
A1 is the absolute beginner. You can handle familiar, everyday expressions, very basic phrases, introducing yourself, asking simple questions.
Got it. And A2, elementary.
A2, you're building on that. You can communicate in simple, routine tasks. Direct exchange of information, like asking for directions, ordering coffee, that kind of thing. Basic travel is manageable.
Makes sense. Then you move up to independent user.
Right. B1 is intermediate. This is a big step. You can handle most situations you'd likely encounter traveling in Portugal or Brazil. You can understand the main points of conversations on familiar topics.
Okay, B1 sounds pretty functional. What about B2, upper intermediate?
B2 is where you start interacting with more fluency, more spontaneity. You can chat with native speakers without major strain on either side. You can understand complex texts, even on abstract topics. It's a solid level for work or study.
A significant leap, you said.
Definitely. And then you get to the proficient user levels.
C1 and C2.
C1 is advanced. You can express yourself fluently, spontaneously. You don't really have to search for words much. You can use Portuguese flexibly, socially, academically, professionally.
Wow. And C2, that's mastery.
That's the peak. C2 means you understand pretty much everything you hear or read in Portuguese easily. You can summarize complex information, argue points coherently, basically near-native competence.
So this CEFR framework, it really gives everyone a clear benchmark.
Absolutely. It doesn't matter which specific test you take. You can usually see how it lines up with these levels.
Okay, so we have the map, the CEFR. Now, how do you actually get certified? You mentioned two big players.
Right. You've basically got CAPLE, which is focused on European Portuguese, and Celpe-Bras for Brazilian Portuguese.
Let's start with KPL. That's the one from Portugal.
Yeah, administered by the University of Lisbon. It's very well recognized in Portugal and generally across Europe. Good for academic stuff, professional paths there. And it lines up directly with those CEFR levels we just talked about.
Okay, so KPL has exams for each level.
Pretty much. They have 6 levels. There's Acesso, which is like a pre-A1 taster. Then CAPLE, which is A2 Certificate of Initial Portuguese.
CAPLE A2, got it.
Then DPLE, which is B1, the Diploma of Elementary Portuguese. And interestingly, DPL also works as a standalone credential for basic job competence. That's a neat bonus.
Oh, that's useful to know. Okay, after DPL.
You've got DPLE at B2 Intermediate Diploma, then DPLE at C1 Advanced Diploma, and finally DUPLE at C2 the University Diploma.
And how do they test you? What skills?
CPLE tests the 4 core skills: reading, listening, writing, and speaking. Pretty standard language exam format.
And logistics. When and where?
They have authorized test centers all over the world. Exams are usually held a few times a year, typically May, July, and November. You'd check their website for specifics.
Okay, that's CAPLE for European Portuguese.
Yeah.
What about the Brazilian side?
Celpe-Bras.
Right, Celpe-Bras. That's the official Brazilian one from their Ministry of Education. It's different. It doesn't follow the CEFR levels quite as rigidly.
Oh, how does it work then?
It has 4 certification levels, not 6 that map directly. There's Intermediario, which is roughly B1.
Okay, intermediate. Then Intermediario Superior, kind of around B2. Avanzado, which is like C1. And Avanzado Superior, comparable to C2.
So roughly aligned, but not one-to-one like CPL.
Exactly. And the way they test is also really unique. It's much more integrated.
Integrated, what do you mean?
Instead of testing reading, writing, listening, speaking in separate sections, Celpe-Bras uses tasks that mimic real-life situations where you'd naturally use multiple skills together.
Can you give an example?
Sure. You might watch a short video clip, maybe a news report from Brazil. Then you might read a related blog post or article online, and then you'd have to discuss the topic with an examiner and maybe write a short opinion piece about it. See, it all connects.
Ah, I see. So it's less about isolated grammar drills and more about actually using the language in context.
Precisely. It aims to assess your ability to communicate effectively in real-world scenarios using Brazilian Portuguese.
That brings up a key question then. If you, the listener, are trying to decide CAPLE or Celpe-Bras, what's the main consideration?
Well, the sources point to this. APLE, with its clear CEFR links, often gets broader recognition, especially academically in Europe. If your target is Portugal, it's usually the go-to.
Makes sense.
But Celpe-Bras, with its integrated approach, might actually prepare you better for the spontaneity of real-life communication in Brazil. Its practical application is strong, even if the CEFR mapping isn't as direct.
So it really depends on your goal, where you want to study, work, or live.
Absolutely. Your specific destination and purpose should guide that choice.
What if,
Yeah.
say, someone wants to work for a big international company? Offices in both Lisbon and Rio, maybe. Which one helps more?
That's a good question. Generally, for broader international understanding, CAPLE's CEFR alignment might be slightly more transparent globally.
Okay.
But if that company has a major presence or focus in Brazil, then Celpe-Bras will likely be preferred, maybe even required for Brazil.
So no single easy answer there.
Not always. For maximum flexibility, sure, having both would be amazing, but realistically, you pick the one that aligns with your most immediate goal first.
Right. Okay, so we know the frameworks, we know the main exams. Let's talk prep.
Yeah.
How do you actually get ready for these? What's the first step?
Step one has to be figuring out where you are right now. Assess your current level.
How do you do that?
Several ways. You could take an online placement test from a language school or self-assess using those CEFR Candice statements we talked about.
Yeah.
Official websites for CPLE and Celpe-Bras often have sample questions or tests too. Just get a realistic baseline.
Know your starting point.
You
Makes
got it?
sense. Then what?
Then you need a structured study plan tailored to that level. So for beginners, say A1, A2,
Yeah.
the focus should really be on the absolute essentials. Core vocabulary, maybe aim for the most common 1,000 or 2,000 words, basic grammar, present tense, simple past, core prepositions, and lots of practice with everyday phrases.
Like using apps, Duolingo, Babbel.
Yeah, those can be great supplements at this stage. Memorize, too, for vocab.
Okay, what about for intermediate learners? B1, B2.
All right, now you're expanding. Your vocabulary needs to grow to include more professional academic terms. Grammar gets more complex. You'll need to tackle things like the subjunctive mood, compound tenses. And importantly, start writing more. Short essays on different topics. And really dive into authentic materials, Portuguese news sites, podcasts, TV shows. Immerse yourself.
Get used to the real flow of the language.
Exactly. And for the advanced folks, C1, C2.
What's the focus there?
It's about refinement, nuance, mastering idioms, understanding regional differences, say, between Portugal and Brazil, honing academic writing, formal presentations, aiming for that near-native fluency, studying culture, literature. It's deeper engagement.
Polishing everything up.
Yeah.
Now, besides general study, are there tips specific to each exam? Like for KPL?
Definitely. For KPL, you absolutely need to get comfortable with European Portuguese sounds and specific vocabulary. Practice with past papers. The University of Lisbon usually makes them available. And for the higher levels, pay close attention to formal writing conventions. They also sometimes include questions about Portuguese culture or society.
Good to know. And for Celpe-Bras?
Key thing is adapting to Brazilian Portuguese pronunciation and, colloquialisms. Practice those integrated tasks relentlessly, the ones combining skills.
Right, the real-life simulation.
Yeah. And build up your cultural awareness about Brazil, current events, social issues. That helps a lot. Also, specifically prepare for the oral interview part. It's very interactive and a big component of the score.
Okay, it's a lot of preparation, so why bother?
Mhm.
What are the actual payoffs? Let's talk rewards, academically.
Oh, huge advantages. Certification can be required for university admission in Portugal and Brazil.
A prerequisite.
Often, yeah. It can also qualify you for scholarships, let you skip mandatory language courses at uni, and even give you academic credits that transfer. It just smooths the whole path.
Okay, and professionally.
Sure.
Jobs.
Big boost to employability, especially with multinational companies. It qualifies you for roles needing multilingual skills, gives you an edge in fields like tourism, translation, international business, and it's solid proof of your skills on platforms like LinkedIn. Objective recognition.
And then there's the bigger picture. Immigration, residency.
Absolutely critical there sometimes. It can fulfill language requirements for visas or citizenship applications, especially in Portugal and Brazil.
Right.
It can give you points in immigration systems for other countries too, and it just shows authorities you're making an effort to integrate. It's a powerful signal.
Wow, so it really opens doors across the board, academic, professional, personal life changes.
It really is a versatile credential, no doubt about it.
Hey, let's talk toolkit. What resources should people look for? Official stuff first.
Yes, start with the official sources. CAPLE has prep materials on their site. INEP, the body behind Celpe-Bras, offers practice tests. And Instituto Camões has online courses, often very good.
Those are the direct lines for exam prep.
Yeah.
What about other helpful tools?
Loads of good stuff out there. Textbook series like Portuguese para Estrangeiros or Ponto de Encontro are popular. For online platforms, people often recommend Practice Portuguese if you're focusing on European Portuguese.
Heard good things about that one.
Yeah. And for Brazilian Portuguese immersion, Semantica is often mentioned.
Okay, lots of resources. Now, any smart study tips? How to make the learning stick.
Okay, some practical advice. First, consistency. Try for at least 30 minutes of focused study every day. Make it a routine.
Daily habit. Got it.
Second, immersion where you can. Change your phone language, social media feeds to Portuguese. Passive exposure helps a lot.
Sneaky learning. I like it.
Third, vocabulary. Learn words in thematic groups, food, travel, work, not just random lists, better for recall.
Makes sense, grouping them.
Fourth, watch Portuguese movies or shows with Portuguese subtitles. Connects the sound to the written word. Really powerful.
Audio-visual reinforcement. Okay.
Fifth, write regularly. Even just 10 minutes a day. Use prompts similar to what you might see on the exam.
Build that writing muscle.
Sixth, find language partners. Apps like Tandem or HelloTalk are great for speaking with actual native speakers. Nothing beats real conversation.
Crucial for fluency.
Seventh, keep an error journal. Track the mistakes you keep making and actively work on fixing them.
Oh, that's smart. Confront the errors.
And finally, mock exams. Schedule regular practice tests under timed exam-like conditions. It builds stamina and reduces test day anxiety.
Simulate the real thing. Great tips. Now, the big question everyone asks, how long does this actually take?
Yes, the time commitment. Look, it's not quick. The estimates we found suggest roughly 80-100 hours of study to reach A1, maybe 180, 200 for A2. For B1, you're looking at around 350, 400 hours.
Wow, it ramps up.
It does. B2 might be 500, 600 hours. C1 maybe 700, 800. And C2, true mastery. That's likely 1,000 hours plus.
So it's a serious commitment. A marathon, like you said earlier.
Definitely a marathon, but achievable and very rewarding.
What about how long the certificates last? They expire.
Good point. CAPLE certifications generally don't expire. Once you have it, which is nice.
That is nice.
Celpe-Bras, however, is typically valid for 2 years from when it's issued. So you need to keep that timing in mind if you need it for a specific application deadline.
2 years for Celpe-Bras. Yeah. Okay. And are these exams always in person, or are there online options now?
Well, things have shifted a bit recently. Some centers do offer online proctored exams now, partly due to, global events. But availability really varies. You have to check with your specific test center and for the specific exam you want.
Always best to check the official sources for the latest info there.
Always.
Okay, we have covered a ton of ground today, from that universal CEFR map through the details of EPL and Celpe-Bras preparation strategies, all aimed at helping you our listener, navigate this.
Yeah, getting one of these certifications is a real milestone. It's that objective proof of your skills, and it genuinely opens up new possibilities.
Things you might not have even thought about before.
But it's also important to remember, isn't it? Proficiency is more than just a test score.
Absolutely. It's about real communication, understanding culture.
Exactly. So while you're studying for the exam, don't lose sight of the bigger goal, developing authentic skills you can use in the real world, in conversations, watching movies, reading books.
That's where the real richness lies. So here's a final thought for you to chew on. Beyond the practical benefits of the job, the study place how might, really diving deep into Portuguese language and culture. How might that fundamentally change your view of the world, connect you in new ways?
It's a powerful question. So if you're inspired, the next step is clear. Figure out your level. Set a realistic certification goal. Make that study plan using some of the diverse tools and tips we talked about.
With focus and the right approach, you can definitely get there and get that credential that reflects your hard work.
Based on everything you brought to us today.
Thanks again for diving deep with us.
Until next time.